welcome. Quick Art Talk Time, episode 23. Today, we're going to talk about 5 things you need to know before starting with concept art. 5 things that I wish personally I knew when I was starting out. And let's be honest, every time we look at our past, there are always things that could have been done better, right? We cannot change the time, we cannot do anything about it. We only can learn from our mistakes. However, what we can do here as a school is to carry that knowledge on, these mistakes that we have been going through, and carry that on to our students, right? We do that, of course, in an extensive way at our school. But you know, these videos also serve as nice quick tips and a nice introductory way of what we cover at school. So number 1, observe, analyze, and study. That is something that I always took for granted when I was starting out. Let's be honest, probably you are right now having the same. If you're starting out with concept art, you want to go and draw and design the best possible, coolest thing ever, right? You are inspired, overwhelmed, perhaps what you are seeing on ArtStation and all the other platforms. Kara right now is also a big upcoming one. And there's just so much good art that you also want to really dive into it and create an image that is both unique, astonishing, mesmerizing. It carries, you know, a very unique design language, beautiful lighting, everything is just perfect. And I understand it. I've been there myself too. And it is just, in the beginning, it is just a huge mistake to try to create an amazing, unique image when you lack the knowledge, right? So start off humble and just first observe what the real world has to offer. That brings me back to, you know, studying. If you want to know more about it, watch episode 22, where we go on 5 reasons why to do studies, right? Going back to this number 1 reason, observe, analyze, study, is being aware of the real world will make you in the end a better concept designer or even illustrator, right? You will have a better, stronger awareness and communication with your designs, with your illustrations, if you know as much as possible about the real world. It's a huge mistake to try making images that are, you know, that are maybe your ideas, but they will almost 100% lack that realism, lack that fidelity, that richness. In order to obtain that, an experienced artist needs to first go through what the real world has to offer. Never neglect it. I neglected that in the beginning. I wanted to draw amazing laser guns, science fiction tanks right off the bat. If only I would have spent more time what the real world has to offer, right? Combustion engines, jet engines, all consisting from amazing detail, amazing engineering, architectures, the history of it, different civilizations coming up with all these beautiful shapes that we could all effectively draw inspiration from. So it might sound sometimes boring to make studies based on things that actually already exist, but it's the best mind enriching tool at your disposal. And the thing is that it's right under your nose. Everything is right now so easy to access that it is just unbelievable, right? You don't actually have to travel to places to you know, absorb all that visual knowledge. I would still recommend that because it's a far better experience. However, you know, life situations happen where you cannot travel all the time, right? Immersion is also a very huge part of that point, which I wanted to add. So this is still, you know, the first thing. When you're analyzing, when you're studying, try to really immerse yourself in what you are studying, what you're drawing, right? Again, by studying, I mean observe a certain object, like for example, a piece of architecture, observe it, analyze it, read about it. What's the history? What kind of materials were used? How do the predecessors look like compared to that design? What was the successor? Knowing that will enrich your designer's mind in the end, which will make you a far better concept artist in the end, right? This will allow you later on to come with all these amazing images, ideas, etc. Every successful concept artist knows this. They draw inspiration and knowledge from the real world. All right. Number 2, forge discipline. This is something that we, of course, have a strong foundation on at school. We work in a disciplined way with our students. However, if you're on your own, you have to do that kind of, on your own, right? Or with a group of people. However, you don't have someone watching over you, right? No one will go over your bed and telling you to wake up and start working and work towards your dreams, right? It's only you. You are in control of that. And the sooner you realize that, the better is to be for you, right? Day by day, we are, of course, being hit by certain emotions. Sometimes we feel more motivated. Sometimes we feel less motivated. Even though I believe that emotions are important because, that makes us human. However, carrying and guiding yourself with emotions only, that would lead my career definitely to failure. And I wish that I was more disciplined when I was starting out, right? More focused on what my end goal is, which is to become a concept artist, right? Forge a discipline which will guide you on a daily basis what you have to do, right? Always tell yourself that you are in control. You are working towards a goal that will make your life easier in the future. That's why you're laying off, for example, a night of late night gaming. That's why you are not going out with your friends on a Saturday night, because you want to finish that project. Because guess what? It's going to be every step closer towards that end goal. And only you are in control of that, right? No one else is going to motivate you, tell you what to do. Only you can know it, right? You can only take the best care for yourself, right? So I could go on and on and on, because there is, some extensive stuff that, I can definitely talk about. This is a very deep topic that we would be able to dive into. But let's keep these things for now brief. Perhaps we'll be able to make a separate video on that, right? How to forge discipline and stay disciplined on the long-term basis, and how to rely less on emotions and forge that iron mind, right? That was really not going to take care so much of emotions, but more about what you have to do, right? So, number 3. Concept art is not a pretty picture, it's ideas. Now, luckily, when I was starting out, I knew that quite early on, because I took the time to research what concept art actually is, what it means, and what the most important aspects of concept art are, right? However, with students coming in and when I see younger people willing to take the journey of becoming a concept artist, I do find them sometimes confused at the definition of concept art, right? Often I hear the reason, I like anime and I like playing video games, or, I like art, I like drawing. However, we have to realize that concept art is ideas. You are a visual problem solver, right? People will come knocking on your door, for example, a studio, a producer, a director, a game company. They will ask a solid concept art to solve a visual problem. There's a script, there is a briefing, they know what they want, they just don't know how it is going to look. Concept artist is responsible for providing that visual on the highest possible standard, so that it becomes entertaining to watch, so it becomes easy to experience. It needs to be accessible but unique enough so that it creates a good base for the audience, right? I cannot stress it enough how important it is. Most of a concept artist's job consists of making a lot of sketches, a lot of iterations. You're providing ideas on a daily basis, which make people brainstorm, right? Which make people more curious. You are also there to inspire. The pretty picture aspect. All the end results that you see again online on social media, right? To gather all the likes and all that. Yeah, that's all nice and cool, but that's unfortunately maybe for you not how the industry looks like, right? For me personally, I love the fast iteration process. I love coming up with sketches that really, have the potential to develop further, right? And then you make another iteration, then you come up with this, flow of ideas, right? Because one idea can give birth to an even better idea, and that is only possible when you're communicating on a solid, fast level rather than spending countless of hours on one rendered image, right? I'm not saying that the pretty picture aspect is not important at all, it just comes after, right? And sometimes it is being taken over by the illustrator, sometimes the concept artist can do it, but our primary job is to be aware of the fact that we are visual problem solvers, all right? Number 4, do not work alone. I think at the start of my journey, I was feeling alone, definitely. Not that I didn't have friends. I had friends, I had good parents, and I had an amazing time with these people when I was not drawing. However, what I was missing is to someone with a common goal as me to work with, to draw with, to talk about the issues that and problems and obstacles that I'm experiencing on my journey, so that perhaps that other person that shares that common goal will be able to, shine a light from their own perspective. I was missing that, right? Until I met Darek, which of course eventually we opened a school with. But that was way later in my career. We were already kind of, starting out. We already had jobs because we met at a job. So, that is that. What I would advise you definitely to do is to avoid working alone. Is now in the day of easy access to internet and all these Discord channels. Start making friends. For starters, you can join our Discord channel, right? This is the reason why we have it, so that you don't work alone. Share your work, talk about it, stay active. You motivate your way better as well. After I met Darek, right, I was feeling more motivated and more set towards my goal than ever. Because if I'm alone, I might do 2-3 sketches, designs, and I'm like, oh man, I'm done, I'm tired. I also went to the gym, I had to take care of other stuff, right? But then he goes and then he makes another sketch, right? Like, just to make a point that it's still possible, right? Just to kind of like maybe also annoy him, like, hey, like I also have a busy life, but look at me, I did like 5-6 sketches. So like I have to now do it too, because I'm not going to be the slacker, right? I'm not going to slack around. So it is a constant motivational trigger when you work together. It's good and competitive. You learn from each other. And yeah, quite frankly, I think historically, the history of human mankind is, that we worked in packs, right? We were establishing tribes, right? People were not lone wolves because we had to work together to survive. And even in the modern world where we don't need one another that much, I believe it's still extremely important to work together, right? Number 5, physical health goes hand in hand with mental health. Often when I see younger people, really grinding towards their goals, it's very nice and pleasing to see, even inspirational, of course. However, what they sometimes tend to forget is how much we also need some physical activities to keep our mind sane, to introduce balance. in order to stay, of course, healthy on the long run, not only physically but mentally. So this is my thinking process about it, and of course, it is based what I read on about how the human body works. If you only solely focus on your skill of becoming a concept designer, you end up being trapped behind your PC or behind your sketchbook for several hours a day, right? Well, that's good. One might think that is, that's the way to go, right? You're mixing efficient learning with some, brute force learning. You're really grinding towards that goal. However, sooner or later, you will start having that feeling of burning out. There is some overheat of the mind going on that is really overwhelming. And sooner or later, we will collapse mentally, physically. Now, in order to keep us running our bodies and our mindset for a longer period of time, I am a strong believer of mixing hard work, right? So you're sitting, you're thinking about designs, you're tackling the visual problems, you're learning day to day. However, also do introduce into your routine physical exercise, right? We are evolved from very active. Our ancestors were extremely, extremely active, and we were not sitting around. Humans are not made to sit down all day long and to just, grind and work on something, right? We used to run around, hunt around, collect, gather, constantly on the move. And of course, again, our modern world kind of, makes it, obsolete to be on the move constantly, right? We can easily survive and spend our days in our apartments or in the office or at work. However, do be aware of it, that mixing in some physical exercise, even walking, running, swimming, going to the gym, really will make your health better, which results in you being able to enjoy your life longer and in a better way. What also is very important is that your efficiency, the actual work that you put in, will become more efficient, and you'll be able to do more when you do exercise on the side, right? It might sound sometimes contradictory, because you might be thinking, and it is certainly what I thought in the beginning, wow, I've been working for 5 to 10 hours a day on my, design, on my skill, and then I also need to run for an hour or 1.5 hours. Well, that sounds like I'm putting even more strain on myself. However, a day has 24 hours, right? Let's say you sleep for 8 or even up to 10 hours. Well, you still have 14, 16 hours left. 5 to 10 hours is then spent on, core learning your skill. And you can definitely squeeze in 30 minutes up to sometimes 1.5 hour moving around. Being able to do that will make you an efficient learner as well, because physical exercise does improve how your brain works. So there is evidence for that. This is just data that I've been much into, because I also notice it on myself. When I don't exercise for 3-4 days up to a week, I start feeling like, a heavy potato bag. I don't have the same thrive. I don't have the same fire inside of me to go and do and achieve things. There are plenty of more reasons that I could go on and on. I would definitely advise you to find that balance, not only work hard, but also efficiently. I've been saying that. I think, this is not the first episode that I've been mentioning that. And that efficiency, part of that efficiency is by mixing in physical exercise, right? We are in the end human, and we are meant to move around a little bit, right? 3,000 steps a day is the bare minimum, for example, right? So even if you're not a super athlete or you're not have been into sports much, start, of course, slow. Don't go, you know, from one extreme to another, because that is also can be pretty dangerous, and I definitely don't want to be responsible for ruining your health. So start off easily and slowly increase to keep on feeling better, to keep on feeling that energy inside of you, right? So these are the 5 things. Let's do a quick sum up before we wrap up, right? So number 1 was observe, analyze, and study, right? Don't neglect what the real world has to offer for you. All successful concept artists, they know it. They know that everything they draw, everything they design, illustrate, build, everything comes from our real world. Being able to draw first what the real world has to offer before you're designing your own things is the key to becoming a successful concept designer, or what I sometimes like to call it, a visual problem solver, right? For entertainment projects, video games and movies. Forge your discipline. Cannot stress it enough how discipline is important for a long-term time frame where you work day by day towards a specific certain goal. In your discipline, mix hard work with efficiency, right? Have a mindset of that you cannot procrastinate, right? The moment that you are chilling out, someone else is, you know, taking over you, right? It is a game of competition, and only the most disciplined individuals will get a head start, right? The more disciplined you are, the bigger the chance you'll be to become a successful concept artist, right? Discipline also over time sets you more free, right? Thanks to the fact that I've been disciplined, I've been now free to choose basically what projects I can take. Sometimes I'm even free of, you know, what time I get up out of bed, because I've been, well, working my ass off to have this array of options in front of me, right? Might sound a little bit arrogant, but these are just the things that I've been experiencing as a concept artist right now. Number 3 was concept art is not only pretty pictures, but it is certainly more about the ideas, right? Never forget that when you are being hired, it is because you have good, solid ideas. Of course, you have to communicate those ideas in a strong, convincing way, which often, of course, go hand in hand with a pretty picture aspect, but it's your idea output, your way of thinking about visual shapes and problem solving that will attract potential clients to you. Number 4 was do not work alone, right? You forge better discipline, you have more motivation, you have, you know, a band of brothers almost, so to speak, or a band of sisters, so to speak, that you work together towards one goal. We are not lone wolves, we work better in a pack. Hence why we have the school as well, right? People meet together, there is a class structure, they see each other work, they see, you know, what the next person does next to them, the same assignments, and it's a cycle of motivating each other constantly. We are witnessing that every single term with Darek, and it's just always amazing to see what people can do in such a relatively short time span, right? And number 5 was, well, physical health goes hand in hand with mental health. I cannot stress, you know, enough on the fact how important that one is as well. We have to stay active, moving around, so that we keep the mind sane and our bodies work longer for a longer time. I think when you think logically about it, everyone wants to have, you know, the best health possible. It is the best thing to have good health, is enabling you to achieve all kinds of things in life, right? To keep it simple and brief. I will let this Mustang airplane finish here itself. It is a slight redesign, as you can see. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you think that you absorbed a little bit of cool tips from this video. We will be back with more in the future, and yeah, thanks so much for watching. See you guys next time.